Hi! So welcome back to Cat Dick Cooks Let Her Eat. So today is our final project, so I just wanted to do an intro before we get into what we'll be cooking. So we're going to be making some pasta. We made fresh pasta, we dried it last week. And we're going to be making burrata and a grilled eggplant marinated in calabrian chilies, lemon, and olive oil. And we're going to be putting that all together, and it's going to be really great. So I've practiced with the burrata already. I practiced with the burrata 2 weeks ago, made the dried pasta last week. Amisha practiced with eggplant last week. So this week we're going to make the burrata again, make the eggplant again, and actually cook the pasta because it's just it was just dough and dried. We're making our pasta dough out of semolina flour and water. So this is a recipe that doesn't call for any egg because semolina flour is good at absorbing water, so it kind of binds to itself. We're also going to be drying it, so we didn't want to use egg because we were worried that it would go bad because it's going to be dry for a whole week. Incorporated it all. We started to knead, and I kneaded for 10 minutes before letting it rest for 30. And I rolled it out until it was thin enough that I could see my hand through it. I cut it into small rectangles, and then I pinched it in the center in order to make farfalle shapes. After that, it was just a matter of laying them all out to dry on a makeshift rack. So I'm going to be taking our freshly dried pasta and putting it in this bag, and I'm going to weigh it, and we're going to see how much we actually have, because we need a lot of dough, but I also ended up discarding a lot of dough. So I'm not sure how much we actually have. So I'm gonna get started. All our lovely noodles. Oh no, this roll got moldy. Oh, fuck, okay. So as you can see, some of these ones developed some molds, which is pretty yikes. We definitely don't want to cook with mold. Okay, so we only have about 5 ounces of pasta from the top rack, and I really don't want to risk taking the pasta from the edges here because I'm not sure how much the spores have spread from the center mold cultures. So it looks like I'm probably going to make another set of dough and try to whip this out in the next hour before people start to get here for the competition. Sit for 20 minutes, probably, as long as I can before people start to come in. Hi! So everyone's in the lab and we're getting started. So Amisha and I have 2 cook stations. Here we'll be doing the cheese and here we'll be doing the eggplant. And we'll keep you updated. You probably won't see much of the food. We'll try to take videos in between. So yeah. Making the pasta and totally forgot about the milk for our burrata. So it curdled pre-enzyme adding. So we're just gonna start again. Thank God Dr. C bought extra milk, and we'll keep you updated. As it turns out, our final curds and cheese making process ended up very, very wonky, so instead I'm going to use some of the footage from the first week where we practiced. I added the rennet to the milk, and then I top stirred it for about 30 seconds. Now I'm going to let it sit for 5 minutes, and the curds should coagulate and come together, and then I'll cut them and keep processing. So I heated up the curds and stirred them to separate them from the whey so that they would continue to coagulate further. Then I drained the curds from the whey, and you can see the 2 separate parts being filtered out here. The whey is the liquid and the curds are the solid. I prepared the burrata filling, which was just tearing up the curd and adding some cream. So that looks tasty. And then we're going to be heating up the curd in a whey bath that's partially unchlorinated water and partially whey. So after a few rounds of adding hot whey and letting the curd sit, I started to stretch it out and shape it into a disc. I added salt in order to flavor it so that I could finally start to shape it into the burrata. I put the disc of mozzarella cheese in the bottom of a bowl and filled it with the burrata filling, and then I tried to shape the sides around it and tie a knot, which took a few tries and ultimately wasn't super successful, but it was good practice for the final. Should do it on this side.
Wow. We're artisanal, man.
It's burrata.
Alright, let's go. How do I do this?
No.
I'm so excited to try this.
Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Okay, so it looks like the filling is like slightly pushed inside from where this is because I
Alright, so
made like a really weird knot at the bottom, but I'm gonna try this.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my god, that's so good. So Misha, let's do a check-in. So, how's our day going?
You know, it's going. I think the lack of a practice run with a lot of this stuff kind of hindered our progress. But
Yeah.
right now we're dealing with a dilemma with the eggplant, whereas you can see the inside looks a little undercooked, but the outside looks just right. So I'm just trying to improvise.
Yeah. Similarly, I'm dealing with some issues with our mozzarella. Our curd ended up a lot grainier than it has any other time, even though we have used raw milk every time we've made mozzarella. So that's a little bit stressful. It seems to be coming together now that I'm working on in the way bath. So that's reassuring. Our pasta, as I also filmed earlier, got moldy, so we had to reform that. So in reforming our pasta, we lost our second chance at making cheese because I messed up the first time. So we've had a lot of roadblocks, but I'm hoping that it's gonna turn out pretty well. I didn't get any footage of the final product because we were in a rush to finish, but here's some footage of Amisha preparing the eggplant, which was then also marinated in addition to the massaging with oil and grilling you see here. As for our final outcomes, our burrata wasn't as creamy as we would have liked. It didn't spill out of the center because we didn't tear the curds quite as small as we probably should have, but it was still extremely tasty and coated the pasta very well. Our eggplant had some good Maillard browning. It had good grill marks on it on the outside and still remained a little bit firm. Our pasta also had a good al dente bite. Despite some of it being fresh and not dried, it still remained that texture and kept its shape from the formation. So all in all, everything for this project ended up really delicious. It was super stressful and maybe didn't turn out as well as we had hoped, but I think given a little bit more time and a little bit more practice, everything would have turned out a little bit better. That was the main thing that both Amisha and I noticed, is that we weren't able to practice the eggplant ahead of time because of a lack of a grill pan, and we were thrown off guard by the having to make the fresh pasta because the drying didn't work out. So with all that, things got thrown out of whack. So if we had had a little bit more practice, or if just maybe not as many things had gone so wrong, we think it could have been a really awesome recipe, but it was tasty as it was. All right, that's all for Cat J Cooks. Have a great day. Okay, so I forgot to ask for cream for this recipe, so I'm gonna be going to the dining hall to figure out if I can get cream there for the filling of the burrata. So that's definitely something to be mindful of for next time. Thank you so much. They're giving us heavy cream in the dining hall. It's a success, we got cream. So I just want to say I'm really proud of myself because the chef who helped me out and her supervisor seemed excited by the fact that I'm making burrata. So yeah, vlogging in public. So just an update on the cream situation. We successfully have cream and people seem excited. I'm excited. This is gonna be banging. I hope this burrata turns out well. Oh my god, that's so good. Oh wow.
He's always really